Right, let's make a start. Okay. Welcome to today's webinar on maskne skin, or Acne Mechanica as it's clinically known. It's not a new thing, and I think that due to the current climate, because of what's happening in the world and COVID, and it's now been nicknamed maskne. Obviously mask acne, it's not rocket science to put it together, and I think now, because the majority of people are suffering with some form of acne mechanica, if you look on the internet, it's everywhere. There's so many blogs, there's so many advice sites. People are jumping on it to try and sell every treatment, every skincare under the sun. But what I'm going to try and do today is give you a little bit more of an in-depth and an insight into what causes it, and also preventative tips, but also do's and don'ts as well. I think that, as soon as something goes wrong with the skin, we panic, and often we overdo things, and we can be very aggressive with our skin. And I think it's very important to understand that, your skin is an ecosystem. Your body is in a constant state of hemostasis. It's a balance, and as soon as the scales are unbalanced, things start to go wrong. And this is what happens with acne mechanica. So I completely empathize with anybody that's suffering with it at the moment. And obviously I'm sat here, my skin looks clear, and I don't really have any problems these days. But many years ago, 20 odd years ago, I suffered horrendously with acne mechanica. I was in the military. I've done 2 tours, one in Afghanistan and one in Iraq. And I was in full PPE. I was in full, obviously, military uniform, and I worked in field hospitals and in a desert in the heat. And it's not a good combination. And, there was very little that I could do about it. I didn't really have access to treatments, didn't have access to the skincare that's out there now. And it was absolutely horrendous. So, like I say, I've been there, and mine developed into acne vulgaris as well, and I suffered horrendously with it. So please, anybody that does, that following the information that I'm going to give out today, if you do want to get in touch with us, feel free. I've been there, and it's hard, and like I say, so I am speaking from experience today. Right, let me share my screen with you guys as we normally do. Wrong one. Okay, share. Right, and bear with me. Right, okay. You should see the home screen as per usual, Maskne Skin, Cosmopro Limited. And I think we need to appreciate, and I think everybody's on board when I say that mask wearing is the new normal. And it's really important to learn how to mitigate the reactions that it's causing, and how to maintain your good skin health. So let's get started. This is what I'm going to cover today. What is the microbiome? What is maskne? And then going a little bit more into acne mechanica. Why do masks cause skin rashes? How to educate your clients. What can you do to help prevent? There may be nothing. Don't get me wrong. This sometimes is going to happen regardless of what you do. A little bit more on probiotics, tips, and then some product recommendations. And then I will welcome any questions that you've got at the end. Now, I'd like to just elaborate on the microbiome rather than going straight into, maskne, if you like. Now, I always like a fact. There is a community of nearly 1,000 different species of bacteria, fungi, viruses, and mites on your skin. And this is known as the microbiome, or also microflora. It's also commonly known as. And most people know that the skin is the body's first line of defense against injury and potential pathogens. but it's not actually your skin's cells that act as the front line, as the cavalry, if you like. It's the skin's microbiome. And if this is compromised, this is where we will run into problems. So to put into context, your gut is home to 100 trillion microorganisms with over 400 species. It's probably one of the most diverse ecosystems on the planet. So when I'm saying there's 1,000 or nearly 1,000 different species of bacteria and fungi on the skin, that's minute compared to what's actually going on in our gut. But these microorganisms communicate, they talk to each other. And you hear about companies trying to sell you your probiotic drinks. There is some truth in that, and hopefully after today's presentation it will all make sense. So areas with higher density of oil glands, I should say, like your face, your back, your chest, they thrive off the lipids in the sebum, so in the oil. And having a well-balanced microbiome plays an important role in your overall health, and also the appearance of your skin. So these microorganisms, they help to produce vitamins, hormones, and chemicals that affect everything from your mood to your metabolism, right down to your immune system. This obviously, like I say, your body is in a constant state of hemostasis. It has to be balanced, and basically the microbiota survive off the salt, the water, and the oil that your skin releases. And obviously, your skin is there to control the temperature. So there's factors that will affect things like body temperature, the skin thickness, the amount and the size of the folds, and that relates to things like your wrinkles, or deep nasolabial folds, or is somebody overweight, have they got folds of fat as well, because that can obviously have an impact. The skin's pH and the density of hair follicles and glands. So let's think about the differences between males and females, and obviously different body parts. And like I say, just going back, when I suffered with it on my body as well as my face. This is not necessarily just a facial problem, but because of us now wearing masks on a more regular basis, we tend to focus on the face. Now, the studies of skin microbiome are still so new that the information available generally entails to what the microbes can be found rather than what they're actually doing there. However, the alteration of the skin's microbiome may be an attribute to maskne, or Acne Mechanica as it's also known. When the ecosystem gets imbalanced, it can result in skin conditions such as acne, eczema, and rosacea. Now, probiotics, prebiotics, and postbiotics may all help improve your skin's microbiome. So basically, a probiotic, they're live bacteria. They're healthy bacteria in your body. A prebiotic is it's classed as more like a fertilizer for the good bacteria. And postbiotics are byproducts produced by the bacteria. I am not going to go right into this because you can imagine that is a lesson in itself, but there is a relationship between all these biotics within the body. This is all related to maskne. It's not just about what the mask is doing on the skin. So basically, maskne is a new nickname. It was coined as a term to describe the development of acne after wearing facial masks, mask plus acne. It's now used as an umbrella term to cover all manner of facial rashes that can happen due to an increased use of face masks. Now, if you Google, don't obviously take this verbatim, but if you Google maskne, there generally is over 1 million hits. You can appreciate how many people are actually suffering with this. And like I say, it's not a new term. Athletes, soldiers, healthcare workers, Acne Mechanica has been around for years, and it's very, very common. But let's just look a little bit more on the differences between acne, because this is not an acne webinar. You'll appreciate that, again, acne is so complex, but there is a difference. So unlike acne vulgaris, which is commonly caused by hormonal changes, acne mechanica is directly caused by mechanical, it's friction basically. Since acne mechanica can also be a complication of acne vulgaris, people who already have acne lesions may be at a higher risk of developing the mechanica form. So you can, the obvious one is to remove the problem. So we remove the mask, but you and I know right now that's not always possible, is it? Because we have to wear a mask everywhere we go. And if you're working in a healthcare environment, obviously you're in clinic for 12 hours, you're going to have to wear your mask. So it's not as easy just to say, let's remove what's causing the problem. But like I mentioned before, you're looking at the face, the neck, the arms, the legs, the torso, the buttocks, and it's not isolated to the face. But I've just put a little image on here. As you can see, there are different types of acne, and often you have to treat them differently. So I am a huge fan of chemical peels, as you guys know. However, what we don't want to do is cause too much inflammation, too much irritation in clinic, and then obviously then you're wearing your mask. So this is something you need to be mindful of. We may need to tweak how we treat this condition. But let's look at why masks actually cause skin rashes to start with. So ultimately, it's very, very simple. The friction caused by tight areas of the mask rubbing repeatedly against the skin over the nose, the cheeks, the ears can result in redness, flaking and peeling of the skin. And in some cases, it may develop into contact dermatitis. If you've already got underlying problems like eczema and psoriasis and rosacea, then this could be a trigger. So like I say, there's so much going on here. It's not a simple case of just saying, yeah, let's do some peels in clinic, or, you know, let's put you on Roaccutane. Worst case scenario is you've got to be mindful that you've got to respect the microbiome at the same time. Now, sweat, oil and bacteria, basically they become trapped on the skin beneath the mask. And that obviously that skin is already irritated due to the combination of the rubbing against the skin from the material. And this compromises the skin's barrier. The mask, it's occlusive. It doesn't let your skin breathe. You need, obviously, oxygen to allow your skin to function normally. And when we're in environments with high humidity and heat, this causes the pores to be blocked. The sebum is trapped, and this encourages bacterial growth, leading to inflammation and spots. Your microbiome is thrown out of equilibrium. I hope that all helps clarify what is actually going on. Now, maskne, it can occur when you wear different types of masks. It's not necessarily one type of mask, and I've seen people making their own masks. Personally, I'm not a fan of that. I think you need to adhere to the guidelines. Obviously, they're supposed to have 2 layers. They're supposed to be made out of a certain material. They're supposed to fit a certain way. Again, you could actually do a degree in masks at the moment. But there are obviously medical, there are cloth, there are paper masks, and they will all cause friction. And it's important, though, to choose the right mask for you, and especially if you are suffering with this condition. Now, we are always trying to educate our clients and not in a pushy way, not in a salesy way. We're trying to explain to them what is causing the issues that they're having. And often it's very simple. You know, you see people walking around with their mask under their chin. or dangling from their ear, or they take the mask off to eat and they stick it on a dirty surface, and then they wonder, or they're touching their face all the time and they wonder why they've got skin problems. So if you find that wearing a mask is causing breakouts, maskne breakouts, now they have said that wearing a moisturizer or a protective barrier cream before you will put your mask on, 30 minutes before you put your mask on, may help create that barrier between the mask and the skin, and it may help eliminate the friction. But like I say, there's also underlying issues to consider. Now, as you can put, I've just put a little list here. So, you know, not wearing the mask under the chin area, removing it with the ear loops or the ties, putting it in a clean paper bag, or laying it outside down on a napkin if you are going to eat. Hand washing. Hand washing is the number one way to break the cycle of cross-contamination and infection. So obviously this has been drilled into us over the last year, but it should be obviously a no-brainer anyway. You should be washing your hands constantly. And also not reusing your mask. You know, wear a new one, you know, wear a clean one. And if you are going to wash it, I'm actually going to cover that as well, washing it correctly. Now, you may be aware there are sprays you can actually buy if you are reusing your mask. This is not suitable for every single type of mask. I've obviously put that on here. You can spray your mask and it acts, it will basically help balance your microflora, your microbiome. Like I say, it does say there that it's recommended for certain types of masks. We are not connected to this company. We do not sell this product. I'm not trying to obviously flog products, but I'm trying to obviously open your mind to say there's options out there. There's also companies that are launching probiotic masks as well. I've been looking for some for myself as much as anything. So again, guys, if you've come across those, that's a good route to take as well. So a spray and a probiotic mask if you are suffering with acne mechanica. After you take your mask off, you can wash your mask. It does need to be around 60 degrees in a fragrance-free hypoallergenic detergent. And things like washing your face afterwards, washing your hands. But if you are suffering with acne mechanica, do not start covering your face in things like benzoyl peroxide or like prescription vitamin A, which is tretinoin. What you don't want to do is cause too much irritation on the skin. Now, historically, if it's acne vulgaris or another type of acne, then yes, we would be prescribed benzoyl peroxide. We would do, salicylic peels, pyruvic peels, TCAs. We would obviously want a strong vitamin A. However, this is different. We need to treat it differently. We need to make sure that we are not causing more inflammatory issues in the skin. So if you can avoid wearing your mask in certain areas, then that's great, because you need to let the skin heal. So like I say, treat this differently. Please don't start, scrubbing the face and applying harsh products, because that will only make it worse. So I've listed a few tips to preventing maskne. This is not gospel, like I say, this is just my advice. It may work, it may not work, but the more information you've got, the better chance you've got of obviously preventing as much as curing. Now, prioritizing your skincare routine. Like I say, please don't go out and start using really harsh products. You do not want to strip the skin of its natural oils. If you're using a washcloth or a sponge, then make sure that you're changing that on a regular basis. You're not just literally reusing it. Your cleanser, salicylic, is really good for obviously breakout oily skin, but make sure that it's not too high a percentage, because that can also be irritating in its own right. But salicylic is oil soluble. Something with ceramides in as well to help build the barrier function. You cleanse dry correctly. I know that sounds stupid and I'm teaching you to suck eggs here, but again, please don't wash your face and then scrub your face dry with the towel, because that in itself could also cause irritation, and it shows that it can create micro tears in the skin. Now, just dab, just pat your skin dry and make sure your skin is dry. And if you're going to put any products on like moisturizers, vitamin C, antioxidants are obviously fantastic for strengthening the skin and feeding the skin. Make sure that your skin is 100% dry before you apply product. Choose your mask fabric. That goes without saying. There are so many different fabrics now available, but please don't use these homemade ones and these fashion ones. I think that will actually feed the problem. Make sure you're using something that's going to be well suited and obviously fits with the regulations as well. Make sure your mask fits correctly. I know that sounds silly, but I've seen people walking around, and I'm sure everybody else has on this webinar, where they just literally got, unless they've got an underlying problem, obviously, but asthma and things like that, I can appreciate that, but they haven't even got their nose covered, or it doesn't actually fit their face in the way that it should, and it's become a fashion modality rather than a medical requirement, or obviously something that's going to prevent the virus from spreading. Avoid refined sugar and dairy. Now, I know this is thrown at us, but it's true, and I've seen this in my own skin. Now, I'll be honest, this lockdown, this November, I've completely fallen off the wagon. My diet has gone out the window, and I can see it in my skin. I get little breakouts because I'm eating too much chocolate, and now there's very few studies, and the evidence is still weak, but it does cause inflammation in the skin. You can see it in yourself. So plenty of water, plenty of greens, vegetables, obviously oily fish, salmon is fantastic. Your omega-3s, you need to feed the skin. Exercise as well, obviously sweating, you need to be mindful if you are suffering, but at the same time, this will help balance the microbiome. So basically what I'm saying is healthy living. You've got to look after yourself. Take a break. Now, easier said than done. I appreciate some people are working crazy hours, but if you can, just remove your mask on regular basis for about 15 minutes. If you can go outside, get some fresh air, get some oxygen, and give your skin chance to breathe. Now, if you've got underlying conditions such as eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, then of course this will trigger flare-ups, and I completely appreciate that. But going back to diet, especially with rosacea, things like stress, spicy food, alcohol, warm, cold temperatures are all triggers. So understand what's going on with your skin. Now, very briefly, I'm going to cover a few products. Now, this is where I'm probably going to contradict myself, because like I say, you do not want to introduce anything that's too harsh, and you do not want to overuse your products. Now, if you are looking for a cleanser that is basically going to feed the skin but keep the acne under control, the deep cleansing gel is perfect. You've got salicylic, glycolic, ceramides, lactic, hyaluronic acid in there, and a little bit of retinol. So that will help. But again, do not overdo it. Don't think, well, I normally wash my face twice a day. And what I'm going to do is obviously start increasing that. Do not do that. Do not try and obviously imbalance the skin. Clarifying solution is like a toner. You could perhaps use that twice a week. You don't need to use it every day because, like I say, you do not want to strip the skin if you've never used active ingredients before. So you've got your salicylic in there, you've got a little bit of vitamin C in there, and glycolic. Post-procedure could be your barrier cream. You can use a moisturizer, but if it's already inflamed and irritated, post-procedure is perfect. It's basically a calming balm. And of course, your gold standard vitamin C. This one is oil soluble. It's absolutely fine if you've got a little bit of acne. It will go a little bit deeper, and it's stable, and it will actually strengthen the barrier function without stripping it. So like I say, there's products out there. Feel free to contact us if you want more information on the actual products. Let me just come back to my screen. So yeah, guys, like I say, this is a complex topic, and it's difficult to kind of cover absolutely everything. However, what I'm trying to say is, if you're suffering with it, do not introduce anything that's too strong and that's going to strip the skin, because that's only going to make it worse. It may be you want to obviously readdress what mask you're wearing, how often you're wearing it. At the end of the day, surgical masks are only designed to be worn once, and once it's you're covered in makeup or you've been sweating under there and you put it on the next day, that's also going to have a factor. You know, you need to obviously change your mask on a regular basis. So I'm hoping that you found what we've gone through today useful, interesting, informative. I hope I haven't confused anybody, because like I say, you know, it's a very complex topic. The skin is the largest organ in the body. We need to look after it, but when things go wrong, you know, it's tough. And I know, and I've been there, like I say. So I'm not just sat here preaching for the sake of it. If there's any questions, like I say, fire them at me, and I'll be more than happy to answer. And if I can't answer, obviously I'll find the answer out. But we've got an offer on today, Black Friday. So there's 20% off all the Cosmed products. It will finish at midnight tonight, so it is just literally for today. So if there's anything that you want to try for yourself, today is the ideal day to buy it. Go on the shop. And also, while I've got you online, we have teamed up. We're now supporting Masked. It's a charity. Skin basically is the charity, and it's a course that we are offering. It's £40. It's a professional accredited course, and it's for the early detection of skin cancer and melanoma. Now, we include this complimentary as part of our chemical peel training, so you will get access to this if you do our peel training. But if you want to do it as a standalone course, you get in-clinic marketing as part of the course. The course takes about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and it basically gives you the information and the insight to detect and what to look for on your client's skin. Now, I'm just going to move this camera slightly because you can't see it very well, but I basically have a lesion on my chest. I am having a biopsy on the 2nd of December. So this, like I say, is, again, something personal. I think it's really worth doing. It's on the shop. There's a page on our website if you want more information, and it's basically aimed at medical, healthcare, beauty professionals who are treating and seeing their clients on a regular basis. All the money that we take for this goes back to the charity as well. So we're not making a penny. We just think it's an excellent, obviously, charity to support, and it's obviously close to our hearts. So, guys, like I say, if you've got any questions, you're very welcome, Jackie. Let's just have a look. I have a client who was planning on doing a course of salicylic acid peels for inflammatory acne, not maskne, which she is a care worker. So wearing a mask often, would you suggest not doing the peels at the current time, given that she will need to wear a mask after? Right, excellent question, Molly. So obviously peels come in different percentages, peels come in different pH. The lower the pH of the peel, the more irritating and the deeper it's going to go. Now, salicylic is classed as a beta hydroxy acid. I think it's the only beta hydroxy acid that generally the industry uses. We use it. The molecular size is a medium size, so it penetrates through the skin, not fast, but not slow. So this is something you need to be mindful of. Now, what I would probably recommend is, rather than a salicylic peel, is mandelic. Mandelic is also, it's antibacterial, it's oil soluble, but it's a very large molecular size. So basically it penetrates through the skin layers slowly. It's indicated for all skin types, and it does not irritate the skin, but it will also treat congested skin, acne skin, maskne skin, but without the irritation. So our Restore peel basically is the one that I would recommend. Now, if you don't have to take our peels on. If you're already peel trained, you can just buy the peels. You don't have to do the training. And we do have a webinar on it if you do want information. But if you want to stick with the salicylic, I used to work for a prescription skin company. We used to run 20% salicylic peels, and it can be very irritating. So if it's around that 20% mark, I would probably hold off, because I think it will cause the irritation, well, as soon as she's wearing a mask again. Having said that, if she's got some time off, if you can time it where you do the peel and she's got, 3 or 4 days where she's mask free, then you should be okay. But if she's having to wear that mask very soon after those salicylic peels, it could irritate the skin. So just be mindful of that. But there are other acids. Mandelic is an excellent one to use. Like I say, it's indicated for all types of acne, but it's very, very gentle on the skin. So hopefully that helps. So any other questions? Obviously glycolic. So does glycolic work for acne skin? To a degree it may help, but glycolic is water soluble. Salicylic is oil soluble. So you have a lipid barrier on your face. It's there to protect us, and we've obviously covered the microbiome. So what you need to do is obviously break through the barrier, but not in an aggressive way. You don't want to strip the barrier or compromise the barrier. So often if somebody's having breakouts, if someone acne, if they've got congested skin, if they've got oily skin, even an oily T-zone, you need something that is able to penetrate through oil. Glycolic's not the first choice. Something like salicylic, mandelic, peruvic, it would be better. Have the restore peel, perfect. No, fantastic. And if your client has a really inflamed, irritated skin, you can always tweak your protocols. Don't always think, I've got to put 2 layers of this peel on. I've got to leave it on for 10 minutes because that's what the protocol says. You know, think outside the box. It may be, okay, because I know she's going to be wearing masks, let's do this peel for 5 minutes, 1 layer, do it a little bit more regularly rather than perhaps 1 a month, perhaps do it every fortnight, but halve the protocol so it's less irritation in the skin. So like I say, you decide what's correct for that particular client, but please just respect the skin at the moment, because I think everybody's going through this. And things like dermaplaning, microdermabrasion, they may not be the best treatments to do right now, because it does obviously strip the skin. You are removing several layers, or a lot of cells at the same time. So be mindful of the treatments that you are actually offering, and we're all keen to get back to it from the 3rd of December. But I think we've changed. Obviously, the way that we do things has changed, and people's skin is changing as well. So, like I say, if there's any more questions, guys, if you do want to get in touch, then please feel free. Hopefully, like I say, I've kind of given you something to think about, and get in touch, like I say, if you've got any more questions. So I will sign off. I hope everybody has a lovely Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Like I say, the Black Friday is on till midnight tonight. Any questions, you know where we are, info@cosmopro.co.uk, or get in touch via Facebook. And as I say, just keep yourself safe. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining me. And I will share the link to this recording on our community page as per usual. All right, guys, take care. Thank you. Bye.